Hi there guys, I want to apologize in advance if my audio is a little bit screwed up because I've been an hour now trying to adjust this for the best results. Also, I want to apologize for my English. It might get screwed up a few times, but I'm just trying to help people here. So this tutorial will be divided by multiple parts. I'm gonna try to explain its situation because, it's good for people, especially the ones that are gonna do this time after time. It's good for them to understand what's the issue in GTA 5. If not, I'm gonna put a timetable here already. I'm pretty sure it's already there in the screen. That is gonna make you, I think timetable is the correct term. That is gonna make you it's gonna allow you to go to the part that you really want. But I will go now as the first phase to explain what this situation is and why does it happen. So first and foremost, also my specs are in the description if you want to compare results. Also, here's my situation, okay? As of right now, this is a requirement, but I'm pretty sure if you do modded vehicles, you should know this by now. What we are seeing right here is called OpenIV or Open4. I call it OpenIV. I saw someone saying it that way, and that's how I'm gonna keep saying it. Sorry, but as you can see, this is what we're gonna touch to solve the issue: textures. Okay, because if your issue is textures bugging out, for example, you look behind it, you hit the key to look behind, and all of a sudden the map starts to, disappear. Well, even if you have a really good computer like I have, there's going to be something that is going to do some kind of texture pop-ins, and that has to do with high load, no matter how good it is. So basically, it is what I have. Modded vehicles, all of these are for police because I play LSPDFR, so this is what's going to be most predominant, I would say. And as you can see, I have a few add-ons, but I also have some replacement. That doesn't really matter. What does it matter is the textures I'm going to touch. So at this point, what you're going to see here, these sizes, when I have this tab like here, this is going to be our issue. And at this point, for example, Sheriff, as you can see, has 20 megabytes of space, occupying space. And, obviously combining with a model, that's gonna go over 25. Why do I say 25? 25 is the hard code for vehicles. So vehicles, in terms of models and textures, cannot go over 25, otherwise you're gonna start having issues. To prove that, I'm actually gonna jump into the game now, and I'm gonna show you that with this current setup like this, with all this size, the game is gonna bug out a lot. So let's just switch for the game now. Alright, so here we are So here we are, always ruin the scene. Here we are in GTA 5 now. I spawned randomly because LSPDFR spawns you like that, if you want. So what we're gonna do here is go to PD so that for testing sake, this thing is always applied to the same situation. I'm gonna also force duty because usually these issues get really highlighted, let's say like that, with duty on LSPDFR. And as you can see, once I start looking behind, look at that. So the textures are really, really bugging. This is the second time I'm initiating the game actually, and it wasn't going this badly, but now it is definitely worse. And I didn't change anything in the file. So as you can see, the whole map is bugging out when you just change a camera. And usually, even if you don't do this look behind the thing, it's gonna start gradually getting worse. All because vehicles like this are over 25 megabytes. And I said hard-coded, I'm sorry, I meant hard limit. This is way over 25. I think this one is 32 megabytes itself, so the textures and all that. And what can we do about it without ruining quality? We can actually do a lot. For example, that gun right there, that basically a stock weapon from GTA, has a texture of 4K. And I mean, why? Why would you have a 4K texture? But it's those little things that is really bugging out and really can downscale the images without actually ruining the quality too much. Always going to be perceivable. If you have a monitor like 4K, you might notice a difference, but really, look, does that really need to be 4K, that central console right there for the siren? I mean, absolutely not necessary. Sure, it's really cool to have the, little letters and all that, but for gameplay's sake, you really don't need that. So we're gonna now jump to the tutorial and show you how to do what is gonna definitely help you with this situation. Okay, so I want to start off by showing you the requirements that we're gonna need to solve this issue. And I might add right now, since this is the beginning of the tutorial for those who haven't watched the earlier part of the video, this seems kind of hard work in the beginning, but it is so easy after you do the first process that it's just really easy, and you only need to do this obviously once we install a new model, for example, that might be too heavy. If the model is 20 megabytes total, you really don't need to do this unless you want to. So here is the requirements. So you're going to download GIMP, which is like a Photoshop but free and quite really good for the fact that it's free is GNU, so really optimized for Linux and all that, so it's really cool. But it also works on Windows, obviously. David's batch processor, which is a plugin, which is really easy to install. I'm going to show you what is the next step here. And then OpenIV, which you should already have, but in case you didn't, here we are. And download it from their site. I think that will help them a lot. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to show you once installed. It's really easy to install. I'm not going to show you how to install the GIMP. It's just follow through and select where you want to install it. But for example, usually this is going to be your main path. So it's going to be on Windows. Once it's installed, go Windows, the drive where it is, program files, since I think it's 32 bits, this thing. GIMP 2, library, I'm assuming, GIMP 2.0, and then your plugins. In plugins, as you can see, you have these folders. Now, the file they provide you, it comes this thing. You don't need anything else. You just need this thing that is a DBP that comes in the WinRAR. That's not the one, but it comes in a zipped file and it's DBP. For like safety, put the application here, the executive file, and create a folder, because as you can see, I think with the new GIMP, you gotta create a folder and you gotta install this thing. So create a GIMP with this, what is it? What's DBP? So whatever is DBP. For example, create this folder. This one I created, and then you just insert it, and the plugin is installed. Easy as that. So open GIMP. In this case, I already have any access. I just like to search for the files a little bit faster. And here we are. Obviously, I'm going to show you a case file. Now, this is where it's going to start the tutorial itself after you install the requirements. Okay, so at this point, I'm only going to do it once, obviously with Sheriff, because I already have the optimized version of all the textures here, so I'm not going to have the trouble of doing to everyone. But I'm going to show you with Sheriff to see how it works. So I would recommend in the desktop to create these two folders. It's going to make your job a little bit easier. The names don't really matter. Just put anything that you'll recognize. Then you're going to open an IV. So we're going to change Sheriff. If Sheriff, for example, has another file like Corner here has a place AI, which is high definition, do it as well with that one. I would recommend it. But for example, we're going to open here Sheriff, and you're going to hit export all textures, PNG, really important to be a PNG. And send it to resize, one of these folders that obviously you named it. And then this is going to load a little bit because it's exporting every PNG there. So we're going to wait here. I could do a cut, but I'm too lazy for that. There's no need for that. So here you can even cancel, because that's just all you need right here. And one thing that you want to do to make this process even easier is to sort by. So right click there. Sort by size and descending. In this case, you're going to have the largest file first. So as you can see, this file itself, which is just the dirt, basically, the dirt details that appears when your car gets dirty, it's 5 megabytes. Now, this is not 5 megabytes here, this is compressed size. But in terms of like when considering the total size of these textures, 34, that's a really big percentage that you remove. So if you remove the first file, when I say remove, is actually retexture or downscale to half. If it's not 16 fully, it's going to be a huge percentage to remove. And that's only if you want to remove only or downscale the first file, or the first, line here. but I'm gonna tell you what to downscale and what not. So obviously the smallest ones not really worth it, and they can get even crappier textures than I already have, so not really necessary. But you gonna downscale, you're gonna select in this folder, not really gonna select like in terms of like really like this, you know, you're gonna do the selection yourself, let's say like that, of what you want to downscale. For example, this first row, cool, the texture here is the if you want to keep it for 4K, you can keep it, but obviously that's going to be remaining its size. The negatives usually can do that. For example, things that I exclude from downscaling is things that you see from the exterior, or detailing. Anything that has detailing, lights, emissives, windows you can also do it, not really worrying. Undercarriage is also something good to downscale, but as you can see, it's not really a big percentage that you're going to be downscaling, so just focus on usually the 2 lines or 3 lines, okay? So here, you don't absolutely have to do anything. You just gotta basically select the ones and see, oh, okay, so this is enough to remove it. As you can see, 17 megabytes. So that's a really big target right there. So what you're gonna do is go to Filters, Batch Process, and this is where the process actually begins. And you're gonna put Add Files. You're gonna go to Input, I'm sorry, Add Files. And here, you also want to do the same. So basically, this won't pop up like that. What you have to do is go to Desktop, resize, and then click this. So if you click it once, 78 bits, obviously that's the lowest, the smallest files. So you want the biggest first, so that, for example, charger, you know, it adds up in terms of order. So by looking here visually, you can see which ones to, you know, well, let's say that I want to go to here, and that's going to do a big downscale. So that's called Will and Dominator Series. I'm sorry, I'm saying that wrong, but Dominator Series, here it is. I could go a little bit more, but just select all these. In this version of GIMP is really hard to see, but it's the ones that have white letters, I'm sorry, that are highlighted, and click Add. Once you do that, as you can see, everything is going to be, you know, transported there. Then you're going to go to Resize, Enable. The scale here's the thing. If you want to keep it absolute, absolute will make it that, you know, every file has the same size, which is not something recommendable because that will put every file with the same size, and that can be catastrophic. I'm sorry. You know, it can be bad. So let's put this at 50%. So this is gonna half the size. So this one's gonna become 2K and so forth. You know, it's gonna happen the same for all. And then you're going to go to Output, PNG, because you want to keep it PNG. And then on Rename, you want to keep the same name so that the import is really easy. So all you have to do is go here, select Directory, Desktop, Post, which is the empty folder that you have to export the things. You click it Open, so that's where it's going to go. And then, when you're ready, go to Resize and click Start. So these images are going to be all downscaled and be presented here. So usually when this is done, surprise, surprise, it says that it's done, quite literally. So there you go, done. So these are the ones that downscale. So as you can see, the size of the skin here is 2K, which is more than perfect for me because I play HD really, and I don't really like to play 4K, or especially with LSPDFR, that's kind of impossible. So at this point, everything is downscaled. So all you need to do, I closed it, but you don't really need to close it now that I'm thinking about it, so apologies for that. Just click Import here. Oh, make sure that edit mode is on. Go here, Import, and literally just go to Post. You can, for example, click in blank space, Control A, just select all. Open, okay, this even takes less time. Save. And hold on, sorry. There. So, for example, this sheriff's, I could downscale even more, obviously, because 11 is still a little bit too much to me. But for example, sheriff here, compressed, has 12, basically 12 megabytes. And if this was the original file, I'm sorry, no, this is not the one, is it? There you go, 19. So we went from 19 to 12. Obviously, when applied to all, which is what I did here, it's gonna reduce all the size. Now you are questioning, will this also, if you want to repeat this process, all you have to do is clear this list and repeat the same process. Select what you want. I'm just gonna pretend here, and then just go to resize. As long as you don't close this window, everything will be kept. So the output, the rename, everything will be the same. So just go to resize and start. So the process is really quick. And even doing this from start is not really, like, you just gotta select 50, PNG, and then the rename, which is to select post, and that's about it. And this process, if you dedicate like half an hour, if so much, really, if you're really focused, 10 minutes will do. And it depends on how many vehicles you have. I even have add-ons, so believe me, it's a quick process. You're gonna have really low files here. So as you can see, my sheriff here is even, smaller because I even changed a few things. Now, there are a few things that you can modify that you shouldn't really modify. My case was FBI, the interior was blue. In this case, obviously, you want to go for example, search here interior, and you want to correct that. For example, this interior, I don't even remember how it was called. I think it was generic or something like that. So there was a file in FBI. I'm sorry, that actually was FBI 2. Let me just show you that if anything happens, just it's recommendable that you do backup, as I didn't mention by voice, but I'm gonna put a text there. That you, for example, this interior, I changed this interior to a smaller than HD, and this became blue for some reason. So in this case, obviously, you want to keep this file as is. So it's always good to have backups, and the process doesn't take a long time, so it's good. So the tutorial is really this, and this video is long because I want to show you what it does, and that I'm not, excuse my French here, bullshitting you, And I'm going to show you even Police Ford is the one that has the heaviest, and Police Ford is like an unmarked vehicle. It just makes no sense. This had like 2 guns at 4K textures. Doesn't make sense. I'm going to show you that quality-wise doesn't really decrease a lot. So I'm going to initiate game. I'm going to show you the result. But the tutorial at this point is over, but I'm going to show you the results. Alright guys, so here we are. Luckily we actually spawned there, but we're going to still do the go to PD thing so that everything is well set. Force duty, as I said. Usually also these textures will imply that once you use UEP, which is basically retexturing this, using the wardrobe here in the UEP menu, that is actually conveniently being how should I say this, overlapped by this spam of messages, but it's basically what you see there. That's something of that LSPDFR has. If you're not into LSPDFR, you can have any character with police clothing, basically. So we are forced to it at this point, and as you can see, beautiful, look at that. And 44 frames, we're not taking a lot of hits as well. This will not improve substantially your, I'm sorry if I'm saying the word wrong, but, wrong way, sorry. But it will obviously put less load on your game, which can result in less stuttering at the very least. And as you can see, no textures, rip-pops, or, kind of pop-ins, late pop-ins, or anything like that. On the distance, you can see the traffic poles not messing up, so we don't have bugging. And now we're going to see the quality of the vehicles. So we saw a sheriff there. Obviously, the letters might be affected. So I'm going to open the door here. But the texture-wise, the skin, it's 2K, obviously. If you have a monitor or the appropriate PC, you will notice a difference. Can you stop being... There you go. Let's try to see the gun. I don't think I have an angle. I don't have an angle. Sorry for that. Let me try it again. So as you can still look at that. The high quality Pro Guard there. The gun still seems like a gun, I think. That's all I can say. The console there. Let's see if we can read the letters. There you go. The letters are still readable. And I would also, the wheel seems to be a fit for some reason in the first beginning. The screen here might get a little bit less resolution, but like I said, you gotta select what you want. If you want the PC to look marvelous, just don't downscale the PC, and that's about it. Because everything else inside this vehicle isn't really necessary to have high quality. I'm sorry, you could have initiated flawless screen here so that you could see in wider range. But basically the interior is really looking good. So again, doesn't show a lot. Police 4, the one that I took the biggest percentage of downscale. We're gonna... you didn't see the vehicle before, but it's a non-marked vehicle. Again, you don't need a lot of textures for this vehicle to look good. And as you can see, the steering wheel looks like a steering wheel, high definition. You can see the Ford sign here. The wheel in here, the control board here looks also good. Pro Guard, as you can see there, also really high quality. So again, it's just really reducing the unnecessary. And there's some compromises that really you don't actually need to do a lot of them if you think about it, because the quality is still there. So that's it. I don't, for example, the under here, I'm sorry. I just want to show you that this really does work. At least for me, it was a lifesaver. Shout out to the guy that whose name I don't have it right now, but I already put it on the screen and I'm going to do it again. It was a really good suggestion. And as you can see, the under here, when it looked really close, sure, but this was 4K, now it's 2K. Still looks marvelous, and I couldn't even go HD, and I really don't notice a lot of difference. In fact, I think it is HD. So, really, this is all you gotta do, and repeat that process until you got the result that you want. And there's nothing else to say. Here, the FPS, my FPS is so horrible because of the OBS, it's not really optimized. I installed this OBS like an hour ago or 2 hours ago. So, I'm sorry if this is really... the video is of poor quality and all that. But I think the idea is there, and that hopefully helped you guys with the things that you need. So at this point I don't have anything else to add, so happy gameplay there, and hopefully this will work to you. If it doesn't, obviously that also might be a spec issue, okay? Because I cannot do miracles, you gotta have some decent PC to run this. You can have a lot of add-ons, like I said, just keep the hard limit of 25 under. So keep the vehicles at 20, that's the perfect measurement, I would say, the perfect unit there, and that's all I gotta say. So for example, I can switch the textures here really good. In the cases of like having those textured pop-ups, if you use the UAP here, cycling through outfits would be, you know, have late repercussions, you know, late effect. It would take a little bit of time to load. As you can see, this is loading almost instantly. So if you're also having that issue, that's the cause, okay? So at this point, I don't have anything else to add, so hopefully this worked for you, and that's all I have to say. So, good luck.